Episode 18, Shadows Beneath the Surface.
My name is Jake and I've always been a bit of a recluse. Some would say I was a hermit in my previous life. I spent most of my time alone, out on the sea, earning a living as a commercial fisherman. I never cared for the hustle and bustle of the city life, so I preferred to live in a tiny coastal village, in a small house my father left me. A solitary life suited me well. I had the sea as my companion. The thrill of the chase, the satisfaction of capturing fish was what I lived for. This solitary obsession with fishing kept me sane and, more importantly, fed. One summer night, while hauling in my nets, I heard a strange noise, a low humming sound, unlike anything I'd ever heard. I shrugged it off, thinking it was probably just some sea creature I hadn't come across before. But the sound persisted, growing louder with each passing minute, until it was impossible to ignore. My buddy Tom, a seasoned seafarer and a brave man, who occasionally accompanied me, suggested we check it out. So, against my better judgment, we navigated towards the source of the sound, deep into the open sea, far from the comforting sights of the shore. As we got closer, the sound morphed into a haunting melody, sending chills down our spines. Suddenly, our boat came to an abrupt halt. Looking overboard, we saw what was obstructing our path. A massive whale, its body encrusted with a strange glow, was the source of the melody. Frozen in awe and fear, we watched it perform its mournful symphony, before it finally disappeared into the dark depths. Haunted by the strange encounter, we decided to call it a night and return to the shore. That night, the melody played in our dreams. Little did we know that it was just the beginning. Suddenly, in the dead of night, a gigantic shadow appeared beneath my boat. Paralyzed with fear, I watched as it grew larger and larger, until finally, the glowing whale surfaced. I looked into its massive, sorrow-filled eyes, and I understood. This was no ordinary creature. This was a spirit of the sea, a tormented soul stuck between the realms of the living and the dead. And then, everything went black. I woke up the next morning, on the shore, drenched, and terrified. I could still hear the faint melody, now a whisper in the wind. I couldn't shake off the feeling that the whale had tried to communicate something, a message, a warning, perhaps. My life has changed drastically since that night. I stopped fishing and started seeking answers. The sea, once my solace, had become my tormentor. It was a reminder of the haunting melody and the glowing whale. The spirit whale hasn't returned, but I still hear the melody, especially on stormy nights. It feels like it's calling out to me, trying to share its torment. If you're reading this, heed my warning. If you ever hear a strange melody out in the open sea, do not investigate. You might not be ready for what lurks beneath the surface.